Welcome to the Contributor Corner for Run Radio. My guest is Jennifer Rideout. You're an archaeologist and you've got some tips for folks that are interested in that subject. What do you have for us today?
Hi, Trina. It's lovely to be here today. And yes, I'm a professional archaeologist. I've been working in the field for about 13 years now. I mostly work in cultural resource management, which is kind of the applied avenue that you can take whenever you get a degree in archaeology or anthropology. But you can also take an academic route, which is mostly education, teaching, and research. And even though I've been working in the cultural resource management realm, my heart's always been in the academic side because I love teaching. I like increasing the knowledge and appreciation of my field. So for this, my inaugural visit to Run Radio, I just wanted to share some information about opportunities that are open to the public. So even if you're not a major, if you've never had a class in archaeology, these are options that are open to you if you're interested in archaeology. So if you've ever been interested in or would like to ethically participate, and I will emphasize ethically, participate in archaeology, there are a lot of options that you can take. And this applies to tweens and teenagers that are kind of just interested in the field and might want to major in it, college students that just need some unique resume building experience, teachers that want to like diversify, get some hands-on work to bolster their curriculum. Even we have a lot of retirees that participate that might have gone into anthropology or archaeology back when they started their college experience, but it really wasn't a viable career option accessible to everybody 20, 30 years ago. So your primary avenue would be to find opportunities through your local state archaeological society. Every state has one. In Missouri, it's called the Missouri Archaeological Society, the MAS, and we're headquartered here in Springfield, Missouri. And the website, if you want to look up anything about them, is Missouri Archaeological Society, all one word, .org. And all the state societies, like in Missouri, we host annual meetings that's open for everyone to attend. There's usually discounted rates for hotels. We try to make it as an affordable option for everybody to get involved. And we have professional archaeologists giving presentations. Sometimes we bring in lecturers that are like known on the global scale, like really famous people. One of our guest lecturers was the head archaeologist that testified at the trial of Saddam Hussein. So we bring in some really big names to talk at these lectures. There's also lots of presentations. If you have artifacts from your property, you can bring them in and get some information about them. Students come in to give presentations about things they've been working on. It's just really good experience for just avocationalists, professionalists, and students to all mingle together. In the fall, the Missouri Archaeological Society hosts a symposium, and all of these meetings like rotate around the state. So sometimes they're in Branson, Springfield, St. Louis. They just bounce all over the place. The fall symposium is usually like a smaller version. The annual meeting lasts about 3 days. The symposium is usually 1 or 2 days, and it usually follows a theme. So I'm not sure what this year's symposium is going to be. They haven't announced the theme yet, but I will have more information about that later on. And then in the summer, most summers, the society will team up with like the Corps of Engineers or the Forest Service or private individuals, and they will host a week-long training program that is open to anyone. Even if you've never had any kind of class or anything, you can come and work with professional archaeologists and do an actual survey project, excavate, learn how to identify artifacts, learn how to clean them and record them, learn how to actually fill out the paperwork to record a site with the state. And in the evenings, they'll teach lab classes and ethics classes and some history. And you can pretty much just pick the brains of the professional archaeologists that are teaching for that session.
Very nice. Do you have more?
Yes, the other big option you would have is to look into the U.S. Forest Service. They have their archaeologists work in what they call the Heritage Program, and they host this whole program called Passport in Time, PIT, pit projects, which is funny because archaeologists dig pits. I'm trying to think. Their website would be passportintime, all one word, .com. They have a whole special website just set up for that. And it's a clearinghouse nationwide. Every national forest at some point in time hosts a pit project. And these can be survey projects. One project I think that they did in the Mark Twain, which would be our local forest, they had volunteers come out and help document segments of the Trail of Tears route. We had 3 routes that actually passed through the state of Missouri. And a lot of that is actually intact in sections of the Mark Twain forest. So they had volunteers come out and help identify those old trail segments. Sometimes they stabilize buildings. There's a historic, I'm trying to think, a historic mill that they did have one program pretty recently that volunteers got to come and help and clean up and restabilize the historic structure. So it's a variety of things. In Oregon, I even worked on one project where they actually got to open up big test units, like you would actually see if you watch the History Channel. And yeah, you can bring your pets. They
Cool.
there's a lot of that I met. There's a lot of retirees that will just load up their RV, schedule themselves for 3 or 4 pit projects, and then just drive around and camp for free and work on these pit projects for a week or 2. And while you're there, you usually get your camping fees waived. And there's some other perks. Sometimes you usually just have to get yourself to the pit projects and bring your own food and supplies, but there's usually no expense past that.
Very cool. Great ways to have an entry point. Be listening for more from Jennifer, the archaeologist, and our other contributors at runradio.net.